nation's economy, especially in agriculture, shipping, finance services, and most recently, oil and gas. According to him, quote, "We appreciate your fatherly role and support in joining Lagos communities in protecting our pipelines and other oil and gas facilities, and I wish to urge all the traditional rulers to take a cue for the progress of the country," unquote.
In this area, especially with respect to the security of our staff and assets, we are ready to collaborate with the Lagos State Traditional Authority, the state government, as well as the good people of Lagos State on the best ideas to move the cooperation forward. On our part, NNPC will continue to make quality petroleum products available at the right price and quantity to the teeming population of the state.
In his response, Oba Akiolu noted that he has told all the chiefs under his watch in the communities hosting NNPC's pipelines that whatever happens to those assets, they will be held responsible.
If I tell you all what we have suffered in Lagos here, it is patience and perseverance that has given us victory at the end of the day. Look at that Cave Island. All our people in that area, Abagbo, Itomaro, I told the Oba, he's just opposite me here, that I must not hear, if I hear anything in that place, they pay dearly for it.
Quote, "I promise you all that NNPC's installation here in Lagos are safe. Lagos people are peaceful and patient people. I appeal to all pipeline bundles to please stop their own patriotic acts. They should, in the interest of the country, give peace a chance," unquote, Oba Akiolu enjoined.
I appeal to one of the principal actors who are doing all this nonsense. And I said, all these things they are doing, it can never affect Buhari, but for the interest of the country, they should give peace a chance. I agree with them. The majority of the resources we are spending in this country is from their area. If they have any genuine something, they should get it across to the government, now that we have a very responsible and listening government.
We are driving also to improve our agriculture by coming into the biofuels. The renewable energy is one of the areas that Mr. President wants us to push.
What is this? This is oil well. Oil well? This is what the Ghanaians called black gold. There is plenty money in this business. By this time tomorrow, I'm going to buy a brand new jeep. Jeep? Next month, I'm going to buy a whole house. House? Yes.
You need to show me the way.
Show us the way. You mean you want to be rich? Oh yes. You want to level up? Oh yes. You see, the ones there, let's go and pack it. And after that, I will take you there. Let's go.
Hello? Oga? So, sir, these people have started their operation again. I beg, send me 5 battalion FG guys. Thank you, sir. So, sir.
You can buy everything you want to buy.
I will buy a shop. You are under arrest. Your hand on your head. If you move, I'll move you. Let me warn you all. Anybody or community that is involved in vandalization of our oil pipeline will face the wrath of the law.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
That's been Oil and Gas Forum for this week. Thanks for joining us. Let's do it again as a result of the stakeholdership together next week. Bye.
NTA, you can't beat it.
Is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, yeah, oh Gerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with
Why don't you people sell imported materials here? As beautiful as the shop is. Nancy. Buying foreign goods does not help our economy. Neither does it boost local production. And the good thing is Nigerian-made products are high quality. And to make Nigeria great again, that is why I only sell made in Nigeria products. Because change begins with me. I'm convinced. Change begins with me too. Change with me.
NTA International News.
President Buhari describes manufacturing sector as critical to the nation's quest for economic diversification and survival. Independent Electoral Commission declares winner of Edo State governorship election. And Information Minister restates need to move National Festival from being forum for showcasing arts and culture to a tool for economic growth. Hello and welcome to NTA International News. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu. Happy Independence Anniversary celebrations. Activities marking Nigeria's 56th independence anniversary continued Friday with special prayers in mosques. At the Abuja National Mosque, worshippers were reminded of the need to be respectful to leaders, which formed the thrust of the sermon delivered by the Deputy Chief Imam. Mohammed Kolo has details.
Fundamentally, Muslims are enjoined to respect Allah and obey His injunctions. By these, they are expected to be fair in their dealings, promote peaceful coexistence amongst all, irrespective of religious affiliation, as well as shun all acts of corruption. The Deputy Chief Imam, Abuja National Mosque, called on all to respect leaders and pray for them, adding that people should desist from exposing the weakness of leaders, but instead patiently pray for them. He emphasized that if the people make leadership difficult for leaders, life will be difficult for all.
The rulers must fear Allah.
Overcome the problems if we do the needful. The country is ours, and only we can take it out of these problems.
And the United States has congratulated Nigeria on the occasion of the country's 56th independence anniversary, which comes up this Saturday, October 1. In a statement on behalf of President Barack Obama and the American people, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry expressed confidence that Nigerians are working hard to address current national challenges. John Kerry said,
At the interactive session with the creative youth moderated by Joke Silva on the challenge of transiting from the creative industry to a creative economy, President Muhammadu Buhari acknowledged the immense contributions of the youth to nation building. While promising improved budgetary allocation for youth development, the president also said an effective legislative intervention will be initiated towards repositioning and protecting Nigeria's creative industry for greater growth.
Having gone around and see some of the works before I came in here, I have been very, very pleased with what I saw.
Not the foundation of uncompromised security. My faith in his commitment to help the people is deep and abiding.
The book, authored by the president's personal photographer, Bayo Omoboriowo, presents an array of images that captured key moments in the unique story of leadership and the inspirational life of President Muhammadu Buhari. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Let's move on to the legislature. The Senate Committee on Finance says adequate synergy with the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, NSIA, will fast-track efforts by the agency.
So altogether, what we have for infrastructure is $500 million. Each of the major infrastructure programs in Nigeria cannot be underwritten by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority at this stage. It's still too small. It will take time before it starts to be. But my vision is that in 20 years' time or 10 years' time, this organization should be able to say, we will underwrite this project.
Established by the Act of the National Assembly in 2012, Nigeria's Sovereign Investment Authority commenced operation in the first quarter of 2013. Kenneth Nanim.
The draft report, which was designed by the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning in collaboration with the United Nations system in Nigeria, covering 2018 to 2022, is geared towards identifying key areas of improved humanitarian situation in the country. Commissioners of Budget and National Planning from the 30 states converge on Abuja for the validation of the strategic draft report as part of efforts to spread the intervention to all parts of the country. The Permanent Secretary said the formulation of the draft report is a deliberate effort at providing solutions to the challenges of humanitarian situation through the United Nations Development Assistance.
This meeting today is to look at all of those reports and to ensure that whatever UN systems, the support UN system is going to give to us, is in tandem with the federal government policy direction, programs and priorities.
The United Nations resident coordinator in Nigeria, Agele Dikonge Atangana, expressed confidence of the commitment of Nigeria towards improving the humanitarian situation of Nigerians with UN support.
As far as the UN is concerned, we believe in comprehensiveness. It has to be one agenda which cut across humanitarian development and peace.
X-raying the economic environment in Nigeria, Professor Okwach Abagi and Samuel Egu advised government to look inward in addressing the situation. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
The federal government is set to disburse 1.6 billion naira for women empowerment in 8 states under its social protection and investment program. Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Senator Aisha Al-Hassan, made this known at a media briefing in Abuja. Olajide Benlo reports.
I am happy to formally launch by far the most ambitious social protection program in our history, a program that both seeks to start the process of lifting many from poverty.
President Muhammadu Buhari's Democracy Day proclamation of the sum of 1.6 billion naira for women empowerment has gained momentum as the funds has been released by the federal government for disbursement through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development in collaboration with the Bank of Industry. The Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Senator Aisha Al-Hassan, said beneficiaries will be able to access between 10 to 100.
Oh yeah, make we go. Go to social, let it change, begin from within. Look at you, okay, ruler. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thank you for remaining with us. Now, towards advancing air travels, Nigeria is in consultations with the United Nations to establish aviation training schools in Nigeria. Minister of State Aviation Hadi Sirika, in his statement to the International Civil Aviation Organization's 39th Assembly in Montreal, Canada, says the school will also serve the entire sub-region. Joy Osiagu reports.
As over 2,000 ministers and major stakeholders in the aviation sector deliberate on air safety issues at the International Civil Aviation Organization headquarters in Montreal, the consensus opinion is to take critical action by implementing a meaningful carbon neutralizing strategy for its international emissions. The high political will from governments across the globe in support of the adoption of the first ever global market-based measure scheme, which complements a latitudinous combination of measures for environmental protection, is an active signal, as observed by ICAO Council President Dr. Olumuyiwa Bernard Aliyu.
The eyes of the world are now focused squarely on ICAO. I am confident that we will rise to the expectations of the global community.
Over 80% of international flights have offered to participate in the global market-based measure from the year 2021. Nigeria is not left behind in the drive to promote safety in its airspace, as stated by the Minister of State Aviation Hadi Abubakar Sirka in his presentation to the Assembly. He said the ministry is currently reviewing the Aviation Legislation and Civil Aviation Act of 2006 to ensure that the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority continues to exercise requisite powers and full autonomy to regulate aviation safety without political interference.
Nigeria has been collaborating with other countries and ICAO themselves to improve upon this. Just recently we were in New York and we had a discussion with UN where UN is willing to establish a training school for us in Nigeria for aviation security. We're also going to introduce canine dogs and other security measures to enhance safety and security of our industry.
Now, member states at the 39th Assembly are expected to endorse new amendments to ICAO's strategic plans for aviation safety and air navigation efficiency. From the International Civil Aviation Organization headquarters in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Joy Osiago, NTA News.
Decentralization of power, justice, equity, and good governance were some of the issues discussed at a book presentation titled The Politics of Biafra and the Future of Nigeria. Joseph Orok reports that the event was attended by a cross-section of the political class, including former Vice President Dr. Alex Sekweme.
The book captures the importance of history in addressing present realities and the future in terms of conflict resolution among the multi-ethnic groupings in Nigeria. The book, The Politics of Biafra and the Future of Nigeria, makes a case for a new order in the socioeconomic and political structures of the nation. Former Governor of Central Bank, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, who reviews this book, described it as a counter-narrative that raises many questions of debate.
Ofwadile argues forcefully that sustainable development will continue to elude Nigeria unless and until it confronts and addresses what he calls the Biafran dilemma.
There is nothing inevitable about how Nigeria ought to be. Absolutely nothing. The question is that when we outsource our responsibilities by blaming government, by blaming the Fulanis, by blaming the Igbos, by blaming the Yorubas, by blaming men, and so on, there's enough blame to go around.
The book is talking about what had happened in Nigeria between 1966 and now, how those events have affected the mutual coexistence of various people of Nigeria.
A former member of the House of Representatives, Chudi Ofodile, is the author of the book.
So this idea of when a problem occurs in a part of Nigeria, and everybody imagines that it is those people's problem, is the wrong way to go if we must build a strong and prosperous nation.
In Abuja, Joseph Oro
relied on one-sided stories to judge the government unfairly, adding that the Buhari administration has never abandoned the efforts to rescue the Chibok schoolgirls. He said Amnesty International, for the sake of its credibility, should investigate allegations carefully before making them public. And for stories around the globe, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu is our guide.
Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama has been cleared of corruption charges over the gift of a car from a construction firm bidding for a lucrative government contract. The Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice said in a 78-page report that a claim of conflict of interest against Mahama has not been substantiated. Still in Africa, the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court of Justice said she was opening an initial probe into the deadly unrest in Gabon, triggered by disputed elections. The news came only days after President Ali Bongo, re-elected by a thin margin in the August 27 vote over his rival, Jean Ping, vowed to form an inclusive government for the oil-rich Central African country. And for stories outside the shores of Africa indicate that world leaders have hailed the vision of the late Israeli leader Shimon Peres as he was led to rest days after his death at the age of 93. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described him as a great man of the world as he led the eulogies. U.S. President Barack Obama said the presence of Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas at the